Welcome to part 2 of this series all about the moon and astrology. In the last video, I talked about the symbology of the moon and its associations with the subconscious mind, our emotions, and of the divine feminine. I also briefly discussed the symbolism of each of the moon phases, as well as what the effects of being born under a particular phase has on one's personality. In this video, I will get to the juicy part in my opinion, and will outline the moon through each of the 12 signs and houses. So without further ado, let's dive right in. People with moon in Aries are characterized by a straightforward nature, with tendencies towards being impatient and confrontational at times. Here, the moon is in the sign of the self, and for this reason, they can benefit from developing an awareness of the emotions of others. There's a childlike innocence with these people. There's usually a very healthy throat chakra with moon and Aries natives. They tend to say what's on their mind and are upfront about their emotional states and are not usually the types to be manipulative. Moon in Aries, or the first house people, are usually sensitive to situations becoming emotionally depleting or toxic and will not hesitate to immediately leave. Sometimes, however, they can move too quickly and either have issues with being abandoned or being the person doing the abandoning. These people live in the moment, are quick to react emotionally to a situation, and have very powerful desires fueled by an inner passion. Some potentials for growth lie in delaying gratification and learning to tell the difference between temporary impulses and their true desires. The moon in Taurus, or in the second house, is a very favorable, if not the most favorable, position of the moon, which is exalted in Taurus. If the moon here is well aspected, the native may be born into a wealthy family and have a tendency to be very fertile, with many having lots of children. These are very strong-willed, loyal people who have long-lasting relationships. Moon and Taurus people feel out the world of the senses, just like how Moon and Scorpio individuals feel out the world of emotions and energies. With the moon in Taurus, or the second house of possessions, these individuals thrive on material comfort and security, but sometimes become slaves to routine if they refuse to ever step outside of their comfort zones. There is a sense of serenity and calmness about Moon and Taurus people, and yet there is an underlying anxiety about going without and a fear of debt. They are generally very chill people who do not care for unpredictable or messy displays of emotion, because they tend to hold back and only release their emotions when ready, slow and steady like the bull. When these natives endure emotional frustrations, there may be frivolous spending. They are prone to hoarding tendencies, the overstoring of food in their houses, money, and even the storage of weight. When Moon and Taurus individuals are holding on to anger, they tend to hold on to weight as well, using their bigger size and weight for added protection. As Taurus rules over the neck area, Moon and Taurus natives may develop thyroid problems. This correlates with throat chakra blockages that can occur along with issues with communication. In general though, these people usually have good hormonal balance and generally clear, healthy skin. Moon and Gemini, or third house natives, are communicative and curious, and are people who need to have childlike fun. They are talented at imitating others and learning languages, and they're really good with words, and can find it easier to talk about or logically analyze their emotions as opposed to actually feeling them. Due to the mutable nature of Gemini, they're adaptable, they need things in their lives that are outside of everyday routine, and usually opt for the unconventional in all areas of life. Unlike people with Taurus natal moon, Gemini moon natives get easily bored with routine. Because of their ability to see all sides of a situation, they may be indecisive and fickle. They tend to go through money quickly and can have issues with frivolous spending. The airy nature of a Gemini moon can lead to restlessness, nervousness, and anxiety. Usually, however, people with moon and Gemini are healthy, with healthy nervous systems, which is ruled over by the sign of Gemini. Perhaps due to their tendency to overthink, they may suffer from headaches and may sway towards coping with alcohol and depressants to slow their mind down. Their appearance is almost squirrel-like, with their fast-moving bodies mirroring the fast pace of Mercury, the ruling planet of Gemini, through the constellations. With the moon in the third house, or Gemini, these individuals have a magnificent imagination and can be witty and charming, but in the comfort of their homes, they can be moody and temperamental. In addition, Moon and Gemini natives can sometimes have difficulty with overly complicated emotions and have a tendency to emotionally detach. Some advice for Gemini or third house moons is to learn how to appreciate the present moment as it is, instead of constantly seeking something better. The moon is at home in the maternal, nurturing sign of Cancer, but it is still a tough placement for the moon in a lot of ways. Moon and Cancer natives most often do not have easy childhoods. This applies most notably to the first 30 years of life before the first Saturn return. These people might experience loss in early life, whether it be by death or by real or felt abandonment. Even if your parents are still present, there may still be a sense of abandonment, perhaps due to a mental or physical illness of a parent. Moon in Cancer is often represented by orphanages, social work, or loss of parents to an overdose. A A Cancer moon permits strong empathetic abilities, as well as an amazing memory of past events, especially emotional memories. Be careful for holding on to grudges, which can literally trap energy within the body. As the moon is connected with the endocrine system and hormones, individuals with their moon in Cancer can be sensitive to hormonal changes and can have endocrine issues with the tendency to gain weight easily. In general, people with their moon in Cancer or the 4th house have strong connections to their past, their heritage, their family, like Taurus moons, which most oftentimes is their mother figure. But in this lifetime, one of their purposes is to break generational karma. They are here to bring forth a shift in gears that can stop the cycle of their generational wounds. Thus, they become able to forge a new path for their offspring. They love all that brings a sense of familiarity and security, although this can become an unhealthy manifestation of fear of leaving the house or public anxiety. It can be very empowering for these individuals to overcome their fears of being authentic and vulnerable in public settings. The moon in Cancer, or the 4th house, the house of family and home, will lend to these individuals a love of homemaking and joy in making their surroundings comfortable. Cleaning and housekeeping is good for these people. In a sense, they use it to unwind, and keeping a clean space about them is very healing. These natives can, however, display a clinginess to people with whom they have an emotional connection with. Due to their ability to empathize, they have difficulty compartmentalizing their lives and have difficulties with boundaries. Sometimes moon and Cancer natives can be leery of change and have a proclivity towards the acquisition of things to gain a sense of security. This placement of the moon increases sensitivity towards one's environment. Due to the sensitivity towards specific geographic location, as well as altitude, they would especially derive benefit from the use of astrocartography. Astrocartography literally provides a map that can show you how specific geographic locations affect your energy. With the moon located in either the 5th house or Leo, individuals are predisposed to being attractive, charming, and usually quite popular. These natives have a larger than life emotional energy and are very adept at winning people over to their side. They tend to be very emotionally expressive and can sometimes dramatize their feelings and can have a need to channel excess energy. If no such channels are available, this can sometimes manifest as emotional conflict with others. Like moon and Aries natives, these people may struggle with issues pertaining to the ability to delay gratification. Another thing to be aware of is that the larger than life energy of these natives gives them a bright energy that attracts energy vampires. Therefore, these individuals should be mindful of people's true intentions, as they can become a target for narcissistic or sociopathic people. The moon is in a fixed sign in Leo, and therefore it is difficult to change these people's minds. The moon in Leo, or the 5th house moon, is a very creative position, and because of this, these people enjoy taking on the role of entertainer or comic. This is usually, however, only in the comfort of their homes and in situations with close family or friends, but they do have an innate artistic ability, because they are disposed towards being in touch with their inner child and have a very active imagination. Due to their stronger than usual connections to their own inner child, they usually have strong bonds with children as a whole. In general, these are people that desire lots of TLC and attention and can sometimes in the private of their own homes be dramatic when they feel wronged or slighted. This is because the moon in Leo lends to the person a deep need for fairness and justice. Individuals with moon in Virgo, or the 6th house, are people of service who enjoy leading a steady life with a structured routine. They like to keep their surroundings tidy and usually have well-kept, beautiful homes. Moon and Virgo natives have a predisposition towards being shy people who don't mind operating in the background, and they tend to be early risers and like making sure that the things in their life are straightened out, such as bills and daily chores. In addition, abiding to a strict budget and planning for retirement offer them a sense of stability. Sometimes this sense of responsibility comes from a need for feeling needed and useful, and people born under a Virgo moon or a moon in the 6th house tend to express affection in practical ways. This placement of the moon also points to an emotional life that is well organized and controlled. These natives can be hyper aware of situations on an emotional level and can sometimes predict people's emotions and come to conclusions through analysis. This is something to watch out for though, as these individuals may develop a tendency towards trying to fix people, but are usually, however, sensitive to criticism aimed at them. As Virgo and the 6th house have to do with health concerns, the moon in either the 6th house or in Virgo, depending on how the planets are aspected, may lead to a hyper-awareness of the body. There can sometimes also be something in life such as a brush with death or health issues that eventually lead towards better healthcare practices. These health scares can often be an error in diagnosis or mysterious health issues that they spend a lot of their time trying to figure out. Specifically, these individuals have tendencies towards digestive issues. Lastly, due to their sensitivity towards their bodies, they can be hyper aware of minor aches and pains, and in some cases can become hypochondriacs. In general, individuals with this placement are service-oriented souls who are curious about the world around them. Next on the list is Moon in Libra, or the 7th house. Having this placement makes the theme of relationships extremely pronounced in their lifetimes. These natives are usually characterized by having the need to have someone to share their life with. They almost seem incomplete without a partner, and can often be seen marrying young. With this placement, strength can be derived through partnerships, and these natives can put this to good use by utilizing their partner as a mirror to see their own needs and their own feelings. When people with this placement are emotionally unstable, unhealthy manifestations include a tendency towards codependencies and fear of being alone. Meeting people and having new people enter their lives is usually not a problem, as these individuals tend to be charismatic and quite likable. Due to the fact Venus rules over both Libra and Taurus, these people are similar to Moon and Taurus natives in that they have tendencies towards frivolous spending and can benefit from structured saving. In general though, once wealth is acquired for Moon and Libra natives, it's well maintained. Individuals with their Moon in Libra or the 7th house tend to have an idealistic outlook towards the future, which can sometimes lead to dissatisfaction with the present moment. With restless and active minds, they also have tendencies towards falling under some criterion for personality disorders. Overall, Moon in Libra or the 7th house people are adaptable to others' needs and strive for peace and harmony. When people are born with the moon in the constellation of Scorpio, they thrive on transformative and emotionally intense experiences. The moon is in its fall in Scorpio, and it can be an especially difficult placement when paired with harsh aspects to Pluto. These natives are really all about emotionally intense experiences, and can seem to be magnets for situations that create emotional ups and downs. On the other hand, they have a need for simplicity, so they create complex situations to grow out of or rise out of the ashes, reborn like a phoenix. They're always trying to push their limits and reinvent themselves emotionally. They can, however, benefit from the idea that growth and transformation doesn't necessarily need to be so dramatic all the time. They are not scared of emotional honesty and are in essence emotionally driven individuals, but they can have an innate fear of betrayal and put people through a series of tests before they completely open up. Having the moon in the intuitive water sign of Scorpio allows one to pick up on the true motivations of others. They are very intelligent and astute people with enormous presence, and can get to the core of a person very quickly. Because of this, they can do very well with a profession in investigative and psychic healing work. Moon and Scorpio natives are cunning, intelligent people who are prone to manipulative tendencies and addiction. Both Scorpio and Taurus correspond to the throat chakra, and having the moon in Scorpio or the 8th house can lead to frustrations with never feeling like they're able to properly communicate their emotions. They may go through hermit-like phases of seclusion, and many people with the moon in the Taurus-Scorpio axis can go through several major shifts during the Saturn return between the ages of 28 and 30. These people tend to project emotional stability, but there's usually a lot of emotional energy buried within that can be transmuted and released during their Saturn return. In general, with a moon in Scorpio or the 8th house, there are tendencies towards the inability to let go. This applies to the unnecessary retention and storage of emotions such as anger and chemicals within the body. This can lead to issues with the hormones as well as the nervous and digestive systems. These people may also be sensitive to chemicals and drugs and possibly experience issues such as acne and difficult menstrual cycles for women. Individuals with their moon in Sagittarius or the 9th house are usually attractive social butterflies who are confident in their skin. Some people with this placement may, however, struggle with issues such as gout as well as the retention of water and salt. A wonderful trait about these people is that they can be very good at transmuting difficult situations into learning experiences. One challenge for moon and Sagittarius natives is in dealing with denial and patiently finding healthy outlets for grief and bereavement. The moon in Sagittarius or the 9th house leads to an insatiable curiosity and a philosophical nature. They are good teachers and lovers of acquiring knowledge and mind-expanding ideas. Unlike moon in Taurus or moon in Cancer people, these people do not like routine. They need a healthy dose of variety and adventure in their lives to feel fulfilled. With the moon in the mutable sign of Sagittarius, these individuals have adaptable, easygoing personalities and usually have a need for activity and new experiences. They love traveling, meeting new people, and are often outdoorsy types, and through their travels they can learn a lot from identifying on a multicultural and interpersonal level. They also care for open spaces and often have bright, roomy homes that reflect their need for personal space and freedom. At times, due to the fiery nature of this moon moon, they could be prone to burnout, which can come from stress put on the body from too much working out or activities such as extreme sports. With their craving for all things foreign and far away comes a persistent longing to be somewhere else, and a restlessness that can lead to action that comes before the establishment of clear goals. Taking some time to truly feel into what it is they want before they act can be very beneficial to these natives. The moon in Capricorn, or the 10th house, is debilitated, and this can oftentimes be a difficult placement. However, these natives are competent people and have a desire to be useful and productive. They are usually very cool-headed and reliable, with a need for boundaries and realistic goals, and they tend to find security in activities like planning for retirement and old age. A core theme of this placement is the feeling or experience of being punished in childhood for emotional expression. Oftentimes, for individuals with this placement, a chaotic emotional life during childhood was experienced. This can sometimes manifest itself as having a parent who experiences the manic and depressive episodes from disturbances such as bipolar disorder. In their own lives, people with moon in Capricorn or 10th house can adopt this pattern of emotional response by commanding emotionlessness 95% of the time, and by being emotionally explosive the other 5%. Due to these emotional tendencies, they may struggle with feelings of not always being able to relate with people and may require times of solitude to gain self-understanding. These people were often raised in situations with money being an issue in their family, where they had especially frugal parents, and they often gravitate to positions of leadership and authority and tend to adopt roles as homemakers and providers. It is important that they learn how to develop a healthy balance between their private and public lives. They, like Moon and Taurus and Cancer people, have the need for security in their lives and are therefore not usually described as risk takers. They also won't normally be the people to leave a relationship regardless of whether or not it's codependent or toxic in nature. Having the moon in the sign of Capricorn, which is ruled by the planet Saturn, the stern father figure in the zodiac, lends to the person a respect for authority and tradition. These people are usually mountains of strength for other people in their lives, but are usually very hard on themselves. They tend to build up walls around them and can benefit greatly from letting their guard down. Despite the fact they usually don't care for messy emotions, they enjoy helping others heal and can make good counselors and therapists. These people have a need for a structured life, but it may take time and patience to get there. Moon in Capricorn in general has a lot to do with the need for structure and control, and looking to which house the moon is in can shed more light on the areas in life in which this structure and control is desired. These people will often shift careers many times to find the right fit. But once they do, they can find that they work well in public and can become known for their public image and persona. Because the sign of Capricorn is a cardinal sign, these people are skilled in leadership, management, and organization. This even comes down to being skilled with the management of their own emotions. In general, these people usually have wonderful journeys ahead of them and walk down emotionally pivotal paths that can result in significant growth in their lifetimes. Individuals with their moon in Aquarius or the 11th house are idealistic people who want to be seen as unique and independent. They are usually extremely observant and like to study and analyze people in order to better understand human nature. However, they do have a tendency to separate themselves from the real world and to deny the irrational qualities of emotions, like feeling jealousy or envy, for example, and therefore are predisposed to emotional detachment. With their moon in the air sign of Aquarius, these people can often be seen staring off into space, and because of their connection with the unseen, they can find that out-of-body experiences and astral projection may come naturally to them. In addition, due to their inclination to remain with their head in the clouds, they can really benefit from grounding practices and working on their root chakra. These people will often leave a situation when it becomes overly emotional and are predisposed towards being shy people who feel like loners because they're different. However, with the moon in Aquarius or the 11th house, a big theme in these natives' lives is community, and they really can benefit from venturing outside of their bubble and finding people to relate to. Therefore, having a community for support as well as a sense of belonging is very important for these individuals. Without these things, these people will often tend towards instability and unhealthy behaviors. Because of the fixed qualities of Aquarius, they can be stubborn and sensitive to criticism. Moon and Aquarius natives feel different and at the same time have pronounced defense mechanisms and strong ego. Due to their idealistic nature, they have an idealized version of their self and hold the same standards to others. They are sometimes obsessed with progress and change and have a strong dislike when things become stagnant. In general, people with the moon in Aquarius or the 11th house are humanitarian individuals that have a kindness and concern for others and are on a constant crusade for equality. A placement of the moon in Pisces, or the 12th house, carries a bit of each sign of the zodiac, as it is the final sign. These individuals are usually beautiful people who oftentimes have an inhuman, alien-like appearance and a dreamy Neptunian quality to them. At times, they can be seen as not real-world savvy, but they seem to make up for this with the magnitude and depth of their watery intuition. They are also, at times, seen as absent-minded people who need time alone with lots of space to daydream. They feel their way through situations, and with their strong empathy can put themselves in anybody's shoes. Due to their sense of connectedness with the feelings of others and the general plight of humanity, they can sometimes become overloaded with life. Therefore, it is necessary that they separate from being the support to others so that they can recharge. Like the moon in Aquarius or the 11th house placement, these people have a connection to belief and faith and to the ethereal nature of the universe. They oftentimes have extremely well-developed psychic senses and mediumship abilities. This comes from an emotional connection to death and endings, and they may have experienced the loss of loved ones early in life. Moon and Pisces natives can experience delayed reactions to their own emotions and can sometimes go between extremes of being flooded with emotion or completely out of touch with what they're feeling. They can sometimes use their hypersensitivity as an excuse to avoid responsibility and to remain emotionally immature. These natives are sympathetic to suffering, but are not always emotionally available. This can be due to their ability to transcend chaotic energies in their life, which can offer others encouragement that they can do the same. They are usually not concerned with worldly concerns like material comforts and have an uncanny ability to find comfort and beauty everywhere. With the moon in Pisces or the 12th house, individuals are not usually social and like to be in their own little world. However, they are usually very healthy people with especially healthy endocrine systems. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this discussion about the moon and its impact upon our personalities. Stay tuned for the next video in this series where I go through the lunar nodes through each of the signs. Until next time, sending lots of love.